Well, hello and welcome to the Wrap. This is a show rounding up all things Zwift from the last week. We're talking racing, events, tech, fashion. We're live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and X. I'm Nathan Guerra, and Anna Russell is sat next to me virtually, and this is episode number 88 on Wednesday, March 27, 2024, for us that are in the U.S. for the next less than an hour. It is the 28th. On Thursday in New Zealand, where Anna is. And today on the Wrap, we're going to be talking about the Bigspin. Anna was so excited she thought there was a mystery unlock. I'm not sure that that's actually true, but we'll be talking about all the mysteries of the Bigspin because it has definitely been all the hype. We're going to be talking about esports and what it is to be governing them in the world right now when it comes to cycling, and maybe some interesting where does authority lie, I think would be the question that comes up with some of the things we'll be talking about, as well as some of the awesome national championships that have been taking place over the last couple of weeks. There's some updates happening in Zwift as well as other platforms. Indie recently releasing some updates, Whoosh as well. So we'll be chatting a little bit about that. This week, the fashion show or the pick is going to be the London Punk kit. And Anna thought it looked a lot like, what was that? Did you say the Sex Pistols jersey? Pretty cool.
It looks like the Sex Pistols. I'm sure that's what it should be called. Maybe it's been labeled a bit.
Maybe we just couldn't get the brand. We couldn't get the branding on it. The rights perhaps on that one. But that's going to be it. And I think on the wrap so far. And then also what is coming up for racing and chatting maybe a little bit about what does it look like moving into the summer, and then what impact that might have in the racing community at the elite as well as the community level going into the fall. If you do have anything to interact with as well, we do see plenty of you hanging out in chat, so don't be shy. This is also a podcast. Head on over to zwiftcommunitylive.com/podcast to download all of the podcasts or search The Wrap and Zwift, and you'll find it real quick. But as always, we chat a little bit about what we've been up to recently when it comes to cycling, Zwifting, and esports. Anna, what you been doing?
Yes, so I don't have my sling on today. So thanks to everyone who sent me messages after the last show I was on. And last week I was at our Triathlon National Schools Championship, which was really fun to watch actually. But what have I been up to? Well, I do have to have surgery. So I met the surgeon yesterday and now I'm just on a waiting list to wait till I get it done. So my Zwifting, he said I can go on the bike as much as I want, but I'm not wanting to sprint. Just the side to side movement of the shoulder, it just feels really loose and like not great. So I've been doing TTTing. So we've got our team building TTTs on Friday mornings, my time. So tomorrow morning for me, and a lot of workouts. I actually joined a Zwift training plan, the gravel something, like the preparing for gravel, just because it's like 5 rides a week and it's a whole mix. There's like cadence work, strength stuff, some sweet spot, and it's like an hour. Each session is like an hour. So it just seems to fit really, really nicely. And I'm kind of using the Bigspin as the extended warm up into the workout and then a little bit of a cool down after the workout. So I'm like addicted to Bigspin, man. Which one is it? If you go something gravel, there it is, gravel grinder. So intermediate, it's 12 weeks long and it's 5 hours a week. So 5 1-hour sessions. I'm really enjoying it, actually. So yeah, good.
Did you do the ramp test? They have a test up front, it looks like. Zone benchmarking? No.
They said optional, so I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Okay, gotcha. Right on.
Yeah. And then I was saying to Nathan pre-show, I've found myself a PT, and I'm going to start doing what's called prehab. So getting into surgery with my shoulders in a really good state so that when they atrophy, when it atrophies after surgery, it's atrophying from a higher position. So
that makes a lot of sense,
you get what
actually.
I mean?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's quite good. The surgeons at the moment all about, this prehab. Like get into surgery like super healthy and strong, and then you'll just come out better. So yeah,
that makes
but basically
so much
you can get
sense. I've seen people go into surgery that are not prepared. Like they go in thinking it's going to solve everything when there's a lot of other issues that weren't already solved. And then you come out almost worse on the other end with a much longer rehab than what was necessary, perhaps because you weren't prepared. That's really interesting that they're starting to do that. Cool.
And I can get on the indoor trainer like within a couple of days of surgery. I can't swim and run for about 6 to 8 weeks, but I can bike the whole time. So that's very exciting.
Those that are needing an update, the separation, like what happened? There's a couple of people maybe wondering still.
Okay, so it fully dislocated, and then I had the MRI. It's fractured the socket. So when the ball fell out of the socket, it basically fractured off the socket. And then what's it called? It's a torn labrum. So it's like a shoulder separation as well. So they're doing, I guess what you'd call a shoulder
and you were just hanging out with the kids and that happened. You're playing. Sorry. Whoops.
Don't even get me started. God, I know, right? But that's why I have to have surgery. I've done it a couple of times, like snowboarding or surfing.
I definitely was not trying to terrible. That was not a shot at you at all, Anna. Oh man.
Anyways, but that's me. But I am we'll talk about it later, but man, I am loving the Bigspin. That is getting me on the bike at the moment.
We'll probably jump right into that because what have I been doing? Well, when it comes to Zwift, I've been logging in, if it's either I log in at 15 past the hour or I log in around 40 to 45 past the hour for the late joins. And on the most recent Big Spin for this week, it's funny because every week is its own thing. It's a race now at the front of Big Spin to get under 30 minutes because there's so much climbing in this one. So it's full gas. We just are barely making it. I was able to make it. Yeah. Just able to make it with one or two in a group, but we made it. And we were able to get an extra spin, but it's putting me back on the New York course. So stage 3, New York, that's putting us, when it comes to the late joiners, they're not getting as much. And I see a lot of comments actually, 5K, 6K, 8K. Like it feels like this one is because the main group is not as far as they were before. So it's much more difficult to get that freebie spins. You got to work for them now a little bit. And when I logged in yesterday, was it today? There was like everybody it was like Don't Get Dropped Cycling was there, Llama, Josh Harris was there. It was like all of these big names doing the big, and they were really into it too. They're like, I don't even know why I'm doing this, but I'm so into it.
So this is like a huge reason I am loving it. As every time I get on, same thing. I'm seeing all these familiar names, and I'm getting more so than I've ever had before. People being like, I love the podcast. Hey, Anna, come spin with us. Like, oh my gosh. And like, never have I had this so much. It is so fun. And you just start to see similar names, especially if you're like trying to do consistent, like lots of late joins. You can see us all just start to appear again. And then there's just the banter all the way through about, oh my gosh, I've got 3 hats. I've got 3 jerseys. I don't have the bike yet. Like there's just so much
There
fun
is a lot of chat. There is a lot of chat. And you get, like you said, these. And then the other thing I'm seeing that's kind of fun is because of the chatter, you start to notice people who do know each other, but then the groups that are on that don't know each other, but kind of start chatting with each other. You know what I mean? So then you start meeting. Yeah. It's kind of cool, actually, that you get to meet new people that way, just because everybody has this big spinner. Like seriously, even in chat right now, RT just came in and was like, cheesing the big spin. What have we become? Like, and I was thinking about it, how in Apex and in all games nowadays have skins, and like Hearthstone has card backs, and somebody asked me today in Apex, I was playing some Apex, and somebody was like, Nathan, did you buy any of the new skins that just came out? Because there was an update, and I was like, no, I don't buy the pack. I bought like 4 packs, and I was like, oh my gosh, like people are seriously into it, and Zwift have, I think this was an experiment a little bit to see if it would work in this world, and it isn't nearly as like cool as like the younger generation in some ways, like way in which you get like like when you get an Apex pack and you open it, there's this cool little like robot that like spins around and like shoots these little, I don't even know what they are. They're little cartridges off that then blow up this magical looking stuff that comes out, and bam, out of it comes the things that you got. We just have a spinner like that goes around. You know what I mean? But like maybe we'll get a little more investment in this area down the road. But talk about like winning it with like a pretty low resource test, right? They took the spinner that's at the top of the Alp and moved it to like the end of these stages and then put some extra things on it. Like, and everybody's into it. And
I know it's divisive, but the late join thing, honestly, is a huge part of it for me, because it's super enjoyable. Like the last 2, I don't know if I'll be able to make it around New York. I haven't tried yet, but I actually have to warm up, and I'm like, it is on. Like my goal is a sub 30.
Sub 30.
And it's sort of like, I'm riding with
6 or 7 over the top of the climb, just so you know. Like it was 6 or 7 watts per kilogram. It was pretty full gas.
Okay, it may not be possible for me on New York, but the other 2, like I'm with the front bunch, and they're guys from the GP, right? Like I recognize the names. I think Josh Harris was in one of the front groups. I was like, I just need to hold on to these guys as long as possible so that I can get in within 30 minutes and I can get another spin. And I'm like, I am more I feel like I'm pushing more hard here than I was in some races.
I've been sore. I was sore today. And I looked at Gabby. I was like, I'm sore from the big spin. What the heck is going on here? Just because I want the extra spin.
Then, so you have a 30-minute threshold. And then if you get it, I'm like, oh my gosh, my reward is I late join and get usually about 3K of chill and just ride along and banter with people.
Yeah, it's so good.
So good.
No, come on. How is that divisive? Like, come on. Really? Like, I don't know. I just, that for some reason, I'm really trying to see it from someone's perspective that's like, nah, keyboard warning. But I just can't. I'm like, really? Like, you really need something to do, it seems. If this bugs you, I don't know. Like what? Like,
yeah, I can't. I get it if it was a race. I'm always like that with race. So you want that to be as fair as possible. But this, I'm like, I was like, it doesn't matter to you if I unlock some more stuff because it just sits in my garage. Right? You know, like it's an individual pursuit here. It's kind of like how some people, I really think it's very similar to how some people won't do workouts up the Alp because they want the spinny on the Alp to be from pure climbing. Like that's what I've heard too, right? Where it's like, it doesn't really matter. I might have been that person a few years ago, but I've definitely changed. But yeah, I just think it's super fun. I don't know what's the next one after New York.
Oh, let's take a.
Don't tell me that's it.
No, there is. There's a stage 4. It's France, Casse-Pats and Lutece Express is what.
Oh, how short is the short one?
Well, it's 2 laps at 16.7K. So you get 2 spins. Yes! You get 2 spins if you do the whole thing. Because you get a spin every time you go through the lap banner, actually. So on that one, if you really haul it, you can get 2 spins during the event and then maybe even get 4 or 5. I mean, to get 5 spins in one event would be the ultimate, like.
Have you had a 3 spin on Classic or the
I had in McCurry, I had 1, 2. I think I got 4. I think the most I got in one was 4 in one go. Yeah, in one go.
Wow. I got a 3 spin.
It was like I went and then and I like raced for it, got done in like 25 minutes. So then I had all this extra time. And somehow because of the way I had ridden it, and there was a group just coming over the top of the climb, I got in with them, boom, across. Then I got in with the group right behind them, boom, across. And then it put me like 3K back and I had to do the climb. So yeah, that was the goal, was like how many. So the goal is like, can I get 5 out of 1, right? Like that's the next like challenge of the big spin. How many spins in one event?
Lutece Express could be a potential because that's the reverse way round, right? So you end it with the downhill from the Champs-Élysées. Is that the Lutece Express reverse?
I'm double checking right now, real quick. Let's see here. So, yeah, we go down right there. So
yeah, so there we go. It could be a possibility.
It's totally an option. Actually, the late joiners are totally going to get this, I think. That's
5 spin mania.
Oh my gosh, so good.
Oh, I love it. So anyway, that was
so
I put in the show
we're getting
notes.
a question. So some people might understand, like, wait, there's a reward for completing the ride. So for those that don't know, and like you haven't checked out YouTube and Zwift stuff for a while, because it's kind of all, when Bigspin launched, it was just everywhere. You can late join, and if you late join like in the last minute or in the last 5 minutes, you'll late join somewhere near close to the end, most likely. And if you want to get an extra spin and you get a first spin out of just completing, and you complete in under 30 minutes, because late join allows you up to 30 minutes, you jump back in real quick and it throws you toward the end, and then you hurry up, and then it maybe get in under 30 minutes again and hurry up. And so you try and get as many as you can by using the late join over and over again. For those that are wondered, I did see a couple of comments coming through in the chat here with some questions. So that's how that works if you didn't know about the late join hack. So, all right. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the fashion because we're already on it, right? Like for this, right? So, but you aren't using the New York one. You actually, for this week, you picked the UK one with the London Punk. So what are you thinking on this?
Oh, huge high rating, not with that bucket hat, I gotta say. But I personally don't like the New York one. I just unlocked it on the Bigspin, and it's very similar vibe to the baseball one that you unlock at like level 70 something, 71 maybe. Whereas this like London punk one, and I say the Sex Pistols, and they're like one of the iconic London punk rock bands of back in the 60s, 70s, I want to say.
They also have their own font.
I just think...
Did you know it's like its own font too?
Is it? No,
it's like its own font. I just looked it up here actually. When you do Sex Pistols font, it has its own like. Well,
and that's probably what they've put there, because if you look, the Zwift is not written in the usual Zwift font. It's totally different.
Yeah. So you were right.
So that
You're
looks very
right. Yeah, it totally looks like it. That's a good, nice spot there, Anna. Good spot.
Yeah, the detailing. It's all about the detailing. And the colors are cool. I've paired it with, you could pair it with any Tron. Basically, it would look rad. I've paired it with the really bright zip disc wheel. Yeah, I don't know if it's because I'm so high on this Bigspin, but yeah, when this kit unlocked and I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be hard to get me out of this one. I really, really like it. I'd give this like a 9.
It is a good one. I have to admit it. It really is a good one. I like it as well. Now the New York kit. Now for New York though, that's going on right now. I do like the hat. I understand not liking the jersey. You had said you didn't like the jersey very much. I dig the hat because it goes with a lot of stuff. The jersey, meh. But yeah, good pick on this kit for this week though. I do like that. We'll call it the London Punk / Sex Pistols kit. So.
And I do not have the McCurry kit, so I'm going to be catch-up riding that course like crazy. I never got it, which is really depressing. And the France kit is so bad that I want it so that I can wear it on our Worst Fashion podcast Christmas ride later this year. So I really want the French one just for that.
Is my avatar pretty much all big spun out? I think this is
mine.
This is my garage, and I'm currently like totally like everything is big spin here. I think just about. I've been wearing a lot of so I'm just showing off at this point.
I've got the headphones. Yeah, my headphones are not coming off. And the kit at the moment is not coming off until I have to wear my team kit. And I have the Adidas shoes actually from the Zwift games. I just wanted the Zwift games kit and the shoes. I didn't really mind having anything else. So once I got those, I actually stopped riding Zwift games and went straight to Bigspin Mania.
Now, did you see this? We highlighted this last week, but I thought that you would be kind of into this idea that they made it so that the colors change. Look at that. On the tri-spoke.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, nice.
So if you change the colors,
and it's faster
cool.
too.
Yeah, so that's an update that just came out. Is that they made the tri-spokes faster, right?
Yeah, it's still slower than even the colorful zip wheel. So I personally wouldn't still use it in a TTT or in a just individual time trial on Zwift. But I don't even know. The problem is because you can't draft on it. You're not going to roll around in a pace group either, but I might use it for just workouts, I guess, just to look cool in my workouts.
I showed up on this thing in a Zwift Games race a couple days ago, and I was like,
on the cruiser.
No. Yeah, and then I was like, oh yeah, and then somebody in chat was like, don't worry, everything's neutralized. I was like, yes! I ended up winning the race because I was like, oh no, I'm on the cruiser and the spokes. Oh, I must be going so slow. And then it was like, oh, okay, we're fine. Everything. Anyways, so it was kind of funny.
They should just neutralize everything, and then you can use this stuff all the time.
We were just talking about this guy. He's popping in chat here. Josh Harris showing up. Good to see you, Josh. He was chatting away in New York about trying to get some stuff. I think nobody in that one that all finished together. Don't Get Dropped Cycling, we had said. Josh Harris, there's a couple others there too. We all said, oh, we didn't get anything at the end. So for some reason, New York's been a little bit more difficult.
New York for me has been great. Jersey straight off the bat, and I've actually only done it once. I've got to hit that up. I've got a TTT tomorrow morning, and then I'm just going to do 2 hours of big spinning.
One thing I do get ahead of Gabby on nowadays, just a big spin. She was getting all the stuff before me until this last stage, and now I've been a little bit. I don't know. She might have scammed today while I was out lifting. I'm not sure. So okay, what have I been up to? Big spin.
The question is, sorry, you're still on. Well, we're still on the intro.
Yeah, I haven't. Kind of. I just didn't talk about what I've been up to. Obviously, I've been doing the big spin, and then I've been lifting a ton, to try and just get my body and I'm going into repair body mode and completely focused on that actually, where I'm just gonna spend a good amount of time. I still ride I find I ride my bike to motivation though. I'm not I have no training plan. I have no real goals even when I get on the bike. I just go and have fun doing an event in Zwift, ride for an hour to an hour and a half, maybe up to 2 hours if I feel like it. I feel like doing a base ride or doing a race for some intensity. I haven't done intensity in a while. I need some intensity. Okay, I'm going to go do a race. Other than that, I'm just getting in the gym and fixing this back issue. With total body completely reinvigorating it. So, which is really working actually. Today, I think we put on 4 plates on each side at 20 kilograms a piece, a little over 20 kilograms a piece. So I think it was I don't know, it was a lot. It was 700 pounds or something, 10 freaking 10. Anna's that's interesting. Okay. Weightlifting. The rolling the eyes. I think she's
Did I roll the eyes? Sorry.
She's got a gym bro issue, I think. There's a gym bro issue I've sensed or something.
It's just not I don't like being in, I don't know. I don't know enough about weights. So when people start talking the weights they're doing, I'm like, it would be like someone who doesn't know cycling and then you're telling them your power numbers.
I'm totally bragging. Yeah.
Okay. I'll just say great job, Nathan. I'm really impressed.
Gabby's into it too. Awesome. Okay. Here's something I got to bring in though on where Gabby has gotten as a coach. I'm going to bring in some coach stuff here to brag about Gabby a little bit. But it is good for everyone to hear around making sure you're eating, making sure you're building your body up, and where someone can come from a completely shattered hip, broken hip, right? With an eating disorder, and come from there and within a year to a year and a half be producing 40 watts more on your FTP. Today I looked at Gabby and she was eating. I was like, you look strong eating. I was like, your chewing looks strong. I was like, what the heck's going on? Seriously. But just as an encouragement to people to not be afraid of the gym and not be afraid of the weights and not be afraid of food. If you do it right and you eat healthy and eat well, and use it for energy, part of that, and which what a lot of she's getting a lot of messages from people about great job at Zwift Games and all that, but all that it's come from a lot of work of coming from not only just some things that we get really wrong in cycling sometimes, because of how we think about it. So
yeah, no, I mean, and Gabby's come into chat and said, my turn next, as in me. So yes. Maybe in 2 months, I'll be sitting here being oh, I know what you're talking about with the weights. It's great. It's changed my whole life. We'll see if
what's your
happens.
PT prep? You're doing that PT prep you talked about, right? And
yeah, exactly.
Wait
right.
a second. Didn't somebody dislocate their shoulder because maybe there's something going on? I don't know. I'm just saying.
Probably.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, need to do some work. I'll get the work done and then I'll be much better on the gym chat.
That's what it's all for. Just so that we can, just for my sake, so we can have gym chat. Okay. Yeah. All right. Hey, cool. Let's go to, there's some cool national championships going on. Australian national championships happened this past week. I saw Kate Bates on there, which was absolutely awesome to see her commentating some Zwift stuff again. She's such an awesome commentator. And I've been checking out their podcast actually often. It's is it Wheelhouse Cycling, right? Wheelhouse?
Yeah, the Wheelhouse.
The
Yeah, I think it's
Wheelhouse,
just
yeah, the Wheelhouse
Yeah.
podcast, yeah, awesome podcast, and I've been really impressed actually with their on-site presentation though of the Australian
Mm.
National Championships. Have you checked that out? Their on-site presentation was really cool. Josh Harris was actually there. He's in the chat right now. It looked like he had taken second to somebody I'm not totally familiar with. I think he had come from the track side of things and had done some Zwifting, but isn't like a top elite Zwift Grand Prix guy or anything like that, but ended up making a very, on the men's side of things, making a very late breakaway out on Roland Highlands, I believe it was, and nobody responded or couldn't respond, and he just rode away with it. And I think it was a little bit tactical. I think some people like didn't respond on purpose. It looked like maybe, but I wasn't sure. That's what I'm saying. Okay, and I'm seeing Josh say it's one of his best mates. So I was wondering if he kind of let that go. Like I'm not chasing him. I'm not going to chase him down. But and then I believe it was Kate Tridden who also won on the women's side of things in a sprint with Tilly Field, and Vicky Whitelaw actually.
Yeah, I was talking to Vicky Whitelaw about it. She said she just shouldn't have left it to a sprint. And the part about it was super impressive. It was part of a bike festival. So there was a whole festival of cycling in Brisbane, in Australia. And they had this as part of it. It was in person. They're on bikes. So they're all on smart bikes with these like wall-to-wall screens of what was going on. Like it wasn't just a little TV in front of them. This was just like an auditorium of screens, basically. So it just looked really cool. There was a lot to do with so it was an Oz Cycling sanctioned event. So it crowned the Oz Cycling Nationals, which was really cool. And I think, yeah, like I said, I wasn't there in person, but the like social media around it just gave it this buzz of a really spectator friendly, awesome vibe, cool event. So I'm hoping that translated to what Oz Cycling foresaw as a successful event, and that they'll keep it going in that format, because it looks just like amazing in my opinion. And Josh was saying that it was great. He really enjoyed it. So yeah, like it just how that's looking. Nathan's putting it up on screen for those listening, but go Google it or check it out. Oz Cycling's got a story about it up on their website. Yeah, the way they ran it, I was just quite super impressed with it. The level of production. Kate Bates sitting there in her like gaming chair doing like full on-site commentary. Yeah, it was really cool.
Good stuff. Really good stuff. Well done. Well done. Now, you've got some stuff going on in New Zealand. It sounds like that is really interesting when it comes to this, like, who's in charge of this space kind of thing, and like, how does it work? You want to explain what the issues or interesting questions that are coming up right now?
Yeah. So, of course, when I saw this in Australia, I was like, what are we doing in New Zealand? Like, what's happening here? Because I want to have something in New Zealand selfishly. And what it seems like in New Zealand is we have this interesting situation. And I think it's interesting because we've talked about it a bit before, of where does esport cycling sit? Does it sit under a national governing body similar to Oz Cycling or USA Cycling or whatever, insert country name here, Cycling Federation? In New Zealand, we have another entity called the New Zealand Esports Federation. Now, this federation is sanctioned or aligned to our High Performance Sport New Zealand system.
Which is a government body, which is connected directly
which is
to
a government
your New Zealand
body. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Government, yeah. So it's a government body, but there's two entities there sanctioned by it. So there's the New Zealand Cycling and then there's the New Zealand Esport Federation. So when I talk national champs, there's two discussions that are happening, as it seems from a person I've heard from. So could be off here, but so far the discussions seem to be that New Zealand Cycling, the National Federation, wanted on my whoosh and only for elites. The New Zealand Esport Federation is open to it being on Zwift, and similar to how USA did it, kind of age group national champion awards, so masters through to elite. And I'm sitting there going, well, which way is it going to go? Because you can't kind of have two sanctioned events through the government body, each crowning national champions. So I don't know how it's going to shake out. And then, you brought up a good point of like, well, the UCI would only sanction a Cycling New Zealand event, which is true, like because they're a member federation. But would the participants care? Would they just want to go to whoever's running the better event? So who knows?
Yeah,
like, watch this space. But
that's interesting. And like the other thing that you're saying is that the Esports Federation connected to the New Zealand government. Now, is there more of a pull? And since so my question there is, how big is that body? How much of a following do they have when they go with an email newsletter? And also, like, how active is their audience to be involved in cycling? But at the same time, there's all these categories, so there's going to be more participation, right? So that's an interesting play that they have, right? To like, well, more participation, more people, more eyes, more connection. But at the same time, like, they might not be very connected to the cycling space where Cycling New Zealand is. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, you know what I mean? So does this split just cause disruption that doesn't help? Or does it cause like, well, we just reach more people and there's this coming together that can happen too, maybe eventually. And you also got the My Whoosh versus Zwift thing in the middle of it all too. So like, I mean, that's definitely, I want to see how this plays out. I mean, and see what kind of a show I want to see what kind of show each one puts on as well.
So this is, and like I'll caveat again, I don't know. This is just from a source.
Okay.
So
like, will it happen? So like, is this even happening?
Will this happen either way? Would this? Yeah.
Okay.
So who knows? And the point is, maybe we'll never know what that decision-making process was in the back. It'll just come out that the nationals are on this platform run by this group. But there are discussions in the background,
this is
right?
discussion that's going on. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, but currently it's kind of sitting around the two camps, I guess. And I don't know if any other federations kind of have that tension, because the New Zealand Esport Federation is affiliated to the Global Esport Federation, like how Cycling New Zealand is affiliated to UCI. So there's two top levels, right? And this is where I look at the Olympic esport, what do you call it? James would know, but the IOC esport games versus the traditional Olympic games, right? Is I would see the Global Esport Federation being aligned to that.
Yeah, being aligned Olympic to the gaming side of things, Olympic esports events that they were putting on that were not directly connected to Olympic Games. They were definitely a separate thing that they were starting to develop, it seemed like. Yeah. Huh.
But then the UCI is a traditional IOC affiliate, and they're running the world championships. So it's just like, it's
and what the Olympics want to do. So this brings up that question again of what the Olympics want to do with this space again, and where that they will put the, gavel down to say, this is what this is, because that will direct things in a major way about who gets to say what.
Because if the IOC says, we'll be running every 4 years an Olympic esport series or competition, but it will always firmly sit outside of the traditional summer and winter Olympics, then you may see the federations being like, oh, okay, we don't really have to own that space. Like,
and somebody else might come in for ownership. Space. Yeah,
right.
Huh. Interesting. And I mean, we do have, the only thing is interest. That would be the only thing I would say that might wane there is where's the participation? But that whole crew might be like, whoa, there's all these cyclists that are suddenly coming in and have interest in our federation, have interest, and they're probably looking for people. They probably have tons of kids. And sorry, kids, I'm not trying to say that you're the only ones that play video games. I still play video games. But like, you got all these, I know plenty of kids from my gaming experience and gaming communities that are getting scholarships to go to college, to play on their esports teams. Like that's a thing for sure now. And so with that developing, that is a space where this could sit. And also a little bit of introduction of like, movement and cycling or getting your heart rate up it would be a great thing in that space, in my opinion. So like, very cool. And they're probably looking for bodies. So in some ways, maybe.
Yeah. So I'll keep you updated on the space, see which party ended up winning out, and hopefully us, the participant, wins out by actually having a sanctioned New Zealand national cycling esport champion, and that it doesn't get so caught up that no one does anything and we have nothing. No one has anything.
No champion.
So we'll see what happens leading into the World Champs in, October. So something would have to have happened between now and then.
So did we get an opportunity to chat end of Zwift games? Did we actually? I don't think. I mean, we had James Barnes on, but you were off.
I didn't. I commented on the show, actually. Great show, you and James, as always. I had to listen to it. So I think you guys covered it like very comprehensively. I think the only point I had, which I commented on the show, because obviously there was a lot of drop off by race 3. I was one of those people. I mean, I'd broken my shoulder. I could have tried, but it would have been horrible. But a lot of people kind of dropped off, I guess, because it's like, why bother climbing up the Alp? It's just not like the funnest thing. But I think potentially one way, other than the prize money discussion, which I'll park to the conversation we had last week, so I think you guys covered it well, is potentially, if they do it again, is event 1 being the big climb. So the climb is out of the way. Everyone who wants to so say the prize money goes a lot deeper. Say the motivation is to do the whole thing. Then you start with the climb, because after the climb, you're not sitting there being like, well, what's the point? And kind of trying hard here because I can't climb up the Alp. And so you've done it, and then you go, okay, I'm X amount of points behind this person now. Like we need to have some tactics here to drop that person.
So the climb becomes kind of like prove yourself on the climb, and then at the same time, it's almost like a prologue TTT or TT as well in some ways. Like race the truth up front, and then get your tactics in the back end.
Yeah, exactly. So it sets the scene for the next 2 races where you can't just sit in and have a sprint. You need to do something because you're behind.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that idea. I think that might, that's a good way to. And I, who knows what they're planning as well for different courses, and who, probably wouldn't have the same exact thing for next year, but it's a good point though on these specific courses. I think that would have, helped.
I'm not going to lie too. I think there is a big risk sitting with Zwift at the moment, which we talked about pre-show, is that you've got a lot of these riders who are now going on to train for world champs will be going to MyWhoosh, because they need to get to know the platform extremely well in the next 6 months. Like you have to know it well to be able to win a world champs on a new platform. And they're going to get on there. They might start earning a bit of prize money at these events that they have. They might go, you know what? I kind of like this feature. I kind of like that feature. And then suddenly all their friends are on there also racing with them. I will be very interested to see the elite athlete landscape post world champs, and how many more will come back to Zwift for something like the Zwift games.
Yeah, what's interesting is that Whoosh does have a rhythm, and like most of the rhythm when it comes to the more elite side of things with Zwift is put on by the community, but it's still a gray area that isn't very policed. And we've like been saying for quite a while, like, hey, the tools need to be there for the community to put on a growth. Like that's the strength of Zwift is the community and using the platform to grow their groups, to grow their teams, to grow their events. And the lack of tools and ability to police that area and then gain benefit from it, has, made it a space that isn't necessarily the exact same traction as you're seeing right now. Whereas Whoosh has this like constant rhythm always with Sunday Race Club going on. And it's just something that, like you said, the elites can constantly go to go do something. It still has a lot of work to do. Like, you know, in-house, there's been like some like, okay, what's this going to be like? World championships are coming. That's just a reality. You know, there isn't really anything going on right here. And like the program wouldn't load and like they have no direct connect and there's constant dropouts. It's like, there's this much money on the line. Like, this is just an honest, like, nothing to do with my affiliations as Zwift, but just like, like that's scary to me. Like in some ways, like there's a lot of catch up still to do, but at the same time, one of the things that was said in house, Gabriella said the other day is like, well, all these people are start investing over the summer into time spent somewhere. And a lot of the comments that I see coming through is like, I don't have time to go to another platform and use it. So I just stay on Zwift. Like that's where all my people are. And it might end up having the same thing the other way around come the end of summer, that some people who have invested on a rhythm that are on on Whoosh might stay there and just only do Zwift when it comes to these certain. Does that make sense? Like it just reverses it for some people who go over. But what is the motivation to go over? And it would only be amongst those who are looking to make money right now, I think, on Sunday Race Club.
Yeah, I think you make a bit of money, you get a bit more of a tribe over there, and then you go, you know what, I've got to do these workouts. I just do these workouts over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like I personally see like a little bit of a elite rider exodus unless Zwift, you know, comes up with that next thing that they go, oh no, I'll come back for this. And then if they come back, you've got to get likely there'd probably be drafting updates or new courses that you have to get used to. So then you'd come back, get used to all of that, and you're back to your tribe being here. So it's going to be an interesting space to watch with the world champs and what happens after that. I still just like I just still don't understand the business model. Like
there isn't.
I don't. Well, I just kind of am like good. It's great for the athlete, to be honest. It's freaking amazing. You can go and earn some money, but I'm like, it's free to use. You can go earn pretty good coin, but how are they? And they're sponsoring riders like today and the whole team UAE. I'm just like, I guess the money is just endless. It's like, I don't like, how is that even possible? I kind of see, and I was telling you before the show, it's very similar in some regards to what happened with Live Golf. And they just made this other golf event league and paid some golfers $100 million to just come and do it. And what's weirdly happening now, but people who know golf would know it way better than me, so I'm just watching from the outside in, is now the PGA is merging with Live Golf. So it's bizarre. Like, can Zwift and MyWhoosh ever come together? Like, I just, honestly, they thought the PGA and Live would never, ever, there was so much bad blood between the two, and then suddenly they come together. So I don't know. Is it an infinite money pool? Like this, will this just go on infinitely? Or because I think a big changing point for community members, maybe more so much than elite, is if they start charging a monthly rate, then that puts them on more of an even playing field, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I think what you had said about drawing the elites back, I wouldn't even say back. I don't think like, Josh Harris was just in comments saying, yeah, there isn't really anyone but the top 5, like guys who are able to pull 6 to 7 watts per kilogram after doing 5 to 6 for a half hour. Those are the guys and gals who are hanging out there, the very, very, very top, because they're the only ones who can really, and the very top of the other categories, I would say too. But then everybody else is like, well, what am I doing here? Why am I here? And I get way more out of hanging out on Zwift. And I think that there's an opportunity right now, and this is a missing key component, though. I had said something about like the community being the resource and tooling it up, but I also think like the predictable rhythm that looks like a ZRL, but ZRL has just kind of been handling it at the community level. But the ZRL is it's fairly casual still. Like it's fairly show up, and the expectations on governance are fairly low. The teams really do most of the governance. There isn't really anything really on the line. And I think that Whoosh have shown though that there is a hunger for something more, and people are showing up on a pretty good rhythm there. And I think that kind of I don't know. The picture coming to me is the missing tooth, like a missing tooth. Like, where is it? Like, there's a big smile over here, but where's this thing? Like, like here with Zwift, I really am like, there's the opportunity there to have that. I feel like, and there's the people, there's the people who would get it done too. I think that want it, and it's just kind of like, why isn't that there? Like, we really could have that, and we don't. I feel like Zwift and this it's always kind of been like, well, it has to be Zwift Grand Prix, the biggest thing, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, no, it doesn't really have to be. And ERL proved that. So did like so many other things have proven that, like, it doesn't have to be that. It can be. I think there's a missing component of maybe people who don't race professionally that came up through pro racing that like really get that, like, at the state level, we were happy with making $200 to $1,000 for winning a race. And like, that was cool. Like, I was totally fine with that for winning. And like, all the people underneath that were totally fine with like 500, 225 for 10th. Like, everybody was fine with that and had a lot of fun doing it. And like, that's actually extremely motivating. And you can grow a pretty cool local or regional or online community just having something small like that, like, and I really think that's a cool answer for people right now in this space that kind of want that a little more, that elite racing.
Yeah, I'd agree. You could have something like the Zwift. I mean, I do personally really hope the Zwift Games takes over the Grand Prix. Like, I think I just like that
individual
3
racing
weekend format, individual racing. I just
shorter,
found
just
it
boom, 1 month
shorter.
Yeah,
like infinitely more enjoyable to watch and also be a part of. I mean, I raced one of them. I mean, a weekly cadence of racing with like Monday night money racing. And like there's a pool of people who are elite. And I actually just wanted to shout out James Barnes. Sorry, a little bit different, but one of the points he brought up last week is so spot on. Of you have the jerseys in game, not in game wearing jerseys, but the jerseys next to your name. Like, you have a tick if you're like a GP Lama or a Nathan Guerra, and you have a orange pro jersey if you're a pro cyclist, a green singlet if you're a pro runner, and something
golden
if
black.
you're a pro triathlete.
Golden black though. Oh, sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Or a goal, or the one for triathletes. Why? Those are all traditional sports. Why don't we have a little singlet icon to say they're a pro esports cyclist?
Yeah, a Zwift Grand Prix person, or a Zwift
like
Games person, a Zwift Games like little badge.
Someone who's run through the verification process and they're listed as one of those elite riders. They race for a team or they've raced in a Zwift Games. They have that icon, and then you have that Monday night money race. And all those blue jerseys are there, and it's just, and then people see them in the community. Like James said, you're riding around, you're like, oh, blue jersey. Hey, mate, I saw you in that race last night. Awesome job.
Totally. Like, talk about elevating and giving marketing to the thing, because who watches esports? The people who play it. That's who watch it. Like, when it comes to the entirety of ALGS and Apex right now, who is watching Apex Legends freaking esports? People who play Apex. Who is watching Dota? Who is watching? It's mainly, and not until, I mean, Dota, I could see like it's gotten big enough that there's, in CSGO, there's people who still watch or brought people around. I mean, those ones a little bit more, but some of the newer ones, it's only people who play it. And you're going to get way more people watching by just putting some things in game like that are marketing your athletes to the people who are around them. Because right now, when there's a pro jersey in game, oh, there's a pro, I saw you in the da-da-da-da-da, whatever race, or I wonder when they're racing, and people go and look at that. I mean, that would be a great marketing tool for the thing in which we're trying to grow here on the platform.
So do you know, from that Zwift Games, I looked after, I had like, I'm not going to lie, like 100 new followers.
Wow.
And I was
Wow.
like, what the? Like, just from being on Zwift Games, right? They're like, who are these riders? What are they doing? You know, like people do really care. And I think that's what the individual part of Zwift Games was so good at, was pulling out the rider, doing the like ride on stuff, having the ride on jersey. It was just like, it made it that people care about this person. And like what James brought up, I was like, please instigate that immediately, because like doing Bigspin and I see a blue jersey there, I'm immediately going to be like, who is that? Go find them on my companion and be like, oh, they did this. And then you can say like, hey, great job. I see you got 20th on something, right? Like it's such an untapped benefit of having elite esporters all around you on a platform.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. Those great points there about ways that there's an asset within Zwift Games and within the esport to, again, it comes back to utilizing the community that's there. Yeah. It comes back to utilizing, working with, and growing something and connecting with, to do work together with. You know what I mean? I do think that there's a little bit of like go off and make a thing and then come back and present it, and go off and make a thing and come back and present it, rather than like, hey, we're working on this together, you know, like, and letting everybody take a little bit of piece of the pie and go with it. And I think that that's a little bit of a change, which I think is coming. I do think I get the sense. And I think that's the only option when there's unlimited cash on the other side. Like, I think it's like, I mean, what else are you going to do? Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So, well, we're talking a little bit about the competition space when it comes between the platforms. Then there's this little guy hanging out, Indie Velo, and you were chatting a little bit about things they're up to.
So they brought out an update, I want to say last week, recently, within the last 2 weeks, around, I'll call it like targeted chat. And we talked about this, that I think it was both of us said on our, what is one of the biggest features we want to see on Zwift in 2024? And I know mine was tagging people in companion app comments. And you had said around chatting, I don't know if it was the number one thing you picked, but we definitely talked about it, which is when you're like in a race or in a group ride or whatever, you have chat options. You can chat. So what have they called it? They've called it local, group. So you can chat local, where it goes to just the people in the next 10 meters around you. You can chat group. So it just goes to like the group around you. So like if you're riding with a pace partner, we just go to the pace partner group. Your team. So this would be great for racing, right? Is you just chat and only your team sees it. And then also global. So current state, just message and every single person sees it, which can be hilarious when you message someone like privately and then they respond publicly. It is quite fun. But the team one I think would be awesome if Zwift can do it. And I think this is where, Indie Velo could do it. And because we say like, oh, maybe it's just really technically hard, but maybe it is, but a player's already done it.
Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know. Like, there's a couple of things. Two things I want to say. I've said a lot of times, oh, well, because of the engine. I don't know if that's why. And also, when you serve something out to millions of people, it's very different about all the different things that can go wrong, that could break when you try and serve it out to millions. And you might create way more work for yourself and essentially just like piss a lot more people off, like, to be honest, by making a mistake with an update very quickly. And so you do have to have a little bit larger and longer roadmap. So, I want to give the benefit of the doubt to that reality for Zwift, is that they just have a lot more people to, and actually in working with devs in the last 6 months to a year, gotten a little bit more respect for that reality of like, yeah, sure, when you have a smaller pool, it's a lot easier to just make mistakes and go bam and throw it out there. But when you have a bigger one and there's subscriptions on the line and a bottom dollar and people's salaries and you make a mistake and the subs go down, that directly hits that directly hits some things. So you can't just be like, boom, real quick on certain things. You got to make sure everything's At the other side of it though, too, is that I think Individual was built with off the shelf. And we've said this a lot of different times, so I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but that there is game engine that it's built off the shelf with, and it's and able to maybe be a little bit more versatile quickly because of that, because it isn't proprietary code in that respect. But now that's a whole back end story about whys, but just the reality of targeted chat, like or you'd call the target or categorical chat, is something definitely we've chatted a lot about wanting, but being able to leave, that's one way where you wouldn't have to necessarily block or a channel completely. You could just like leave channels then, or like turn off a channel completely and just be like, I don't want general chat right now. Or I don't want, like, there's that ability in other games where you just be like, no general chat. I only want team chat right now. Or I only want whatever it is. I mean, that's kind of a really cool feature. I think it would really enhance the experience overall. How much would people use team chat? Do you really think it would
all the time?
You really think so? Yeah.
Actually, wait. Actually, let me rephrase that, because a lot of teams use Discord. So what would be the reasoning behind it? So I think, that's
But maybe there's a bunch of people who don't use Discord, who don't even like, what if part of the reason people don't race is because they're not interacting?
Yeah.
It's not that interesting, or you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like,
yeah. The time I would use team chat a lot would be if I was just out riding in the worlds and my teammate popped up and I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, we're not organized on Discord.
That's a good point. Wait. That's a really good point. One of the cool things about guild chat and team and party chat and whatever chat is that when you're logged in and you go like, hey, who's here in guild chat? Everyone in the guild sees it. Right? So whether or not, if you know they're online or not, you can just say, hey, what's up? And then if somebody wants to respond, they respond. So it's like, oh, Club Vision chat. And you go in the Club Vision chat, who's here? And then you get a couple of people who are there. And you just know through the chat rather than having to go through all this other stuff.
Okay, true. Yes, that's when I would use it a lot. Because sometimes I see like one of my teammates is Zwifting, like the notification comes up, blah, blah, is Zwifting. While I'm Zwifting, I'm like, I wonder where they are. But I don't want to go on Discord and start a voice chat. I'm in the middle of a workout, but I do want to be like, yo, what's up? Have a good ride.
Then it becomes a place to hang out and have a conversation where your buddies who also ride happen to be there around the same. Because I remember a lot of times in other MMOs where like chat would just be popping off and you'd be like, cool. And you're already riding, you're getting your ride in, you know what I mean? It's like a way to interact. How much more social would it make it I think that if they do add categorical chat, having it be that way where imagine Zwift Insider Club chat would probably just be like out of like, wow, like, but like that's part of it. It's like, well, the Zwift Insider chat is like the Zwift Riders Facebook group, and it's going off, and you can be there for a couple minutes and then take off, or like.
So I've actually had this, and so over the winter last season, I went on Indie Velo quite a bit, and every time I went on, so they just had open chat at that point, but it's a lot of bots. I would write, any humans here today? Mm-hmm. And then someone would pop up and be like, hey, I'm a human. I was like, awesome. Where are you from? What are you doing today?
Hey, I'm a human. Did you get anybody saying, no, I'm a rock, or no, I'm a lizard, or I'm a Klingon?
But that is how I used it quite a bit, actually. Like, I got to say, it was just sort of like,
hey,
who's here?
You used it as a Klingon?
Yeah, I used it as a Klingon every time. I just think it would be really fun. And of course, I went straight to like how this could make racing really cool. And I think I'll look ahead to like, say it came in onto Zwift, say we've got Zwift games happening next year. There's always been what I've wanted is for the broadcast to go live with the DS chat, with the DS as it's happening. But it's always real technically challenging, I think, because like the sound could be terrible. Do you mute all the riders on the chat? Because they'll have fan noise and breathing noise and all of that. So it doesn't tend to work like I want. But you could have it so that the there could be team manager chat. So Zwift could pull up comments directly in game, that team managers could be writing. You could say to team managers, they're part of a broadcast chat, and be like, hey, occasionally, do you want to just comment here? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, what's
Like,
up
that
and
would
what's
be-
happening and what's your take? And that'd be kind of cool.
yeah.
Good way to, that'd be really cool. Huh.
Yeah, so
now,
that's
whether or
kind of
not they
another
want
way
to
I
share
saw
that
it.
information is a whole nother, but you could use it as good marketing for the team and only share what you want to, so.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're not going to say in 15 seconds, we're going to attack off the front, but you could say like, hey, the team's feeling super strong today, and just something, where it brings in that little bit of an insight into what's happening as well.
So one other thing coming up with Easter eggs that have been put in Indie Velo, you said they're actually added real Easter eggs. That would be a cool feature for a mini game, though, that on the month, or I mean, it'd be cool if they just did it for Easter, but that in Zwift there were places like with the Bigspin.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Like you're already like, yes. So 100%. Like there's go find this. And there's little hints, about where you're going to go find. And then you ride to a certain place and you get something. I mean, you would want to unlock stuff, right? Like a way to go unlock those little things you found.
Yeah. And because the Indie Velo one is really cool. But again, you kind of ride, you see the egg, and then you'd be like, I found it. To some friends, I guess, like I got it. But if it unlocked something, exactly, like and I know Zwift could potentially do it. I mean, this is like I've raved about how good the Bigspin is. This is like another Bigspin type idea, right? So they say to you, like, we've hidden 5 things around Watopia, and it's like you can get hints, but you lower like your unlocks maybe. So like if you don't get any hints, you're going to unlock like the bike thing. But you go get a hint. Okay, well, you're going to unlock a jersey. Or,
here's
so
the thing is
like,
once you know, then everybody knows because people are just going to tell everybody. But what if it had like a randomizer to it or something for each individual? So when you logged in, it was in an area, but you had to go to that area. And then you had to ride through, or I don't know. There's got to be a way. There's got to be a way to randomize it a little bit, and then you have to like do something. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's getting too complicated, but I just think that there's something to this. I want to know. I think there is. I want to know from somebody who's done the IV ones. Like, if everyone was just like, "Well, we found them. Here's where they are," and now everybody just goes and gets them. I mean, it's still kind of
they're pretty good, and. I'll call him a mutual friend now, Michael Sweet. We face off each other every day with this bike grid thing presented by Escape Collective, which is, again, quite addictive. You go on every day. I'll get to a point here, but I'll go down a bunny trail first. You have a grid, 3 across, 3 down, and you have to match riders. So you say like, who's a rider who's won Flanders and been top 10 in the Tour de France? And you click the square and you've got to select a rider. And there's a rarity to the riders. Now, they chatted on their podcast and said, are people just going on Google and figuring this out and getting really low scores? Yeah. Can we stop it? No. But there's a personal pride in not doing that. And the group that I have going with Michael Sweet, like I have said, there's no Googling. And we just don't. So I guess there's just that feeling of like, yeah, will people go chuck it on their YouTube channel where they've found it? Maybe. Just don't go watch it. Like, if you want the experience, go do your own experience and don't watch. If you just want your quickest way to get there, then okay, cool. Like, you got some unlock
that's a
and
good
you found
point
it really
because,
fast.
Okay, I'm going to relate this to World of Warcraft, and there was lots of quests that you could just go, and there's guides. There was literally add-ons that would point an arrow in a direction to just go do the thing and just like show you literally, like it would just add an arrow to your screen and you just follow an arrow. And some people would do that, but massive amounts of people would not get the add-on, would not watch the thing, and want to do it just for the sake of doing the quest. And there would even be people in general chat that you could talk, this is where you go. And like you go to a certain area and they might even be talking about the quest and be like, yeah, go, but still you would go and do it. Like you would still and then experience it and figure it out. And it didn't ruin the experience actually at all. It did,
Yeah,
so
exactly, right? Like I could go beat Sweet tomorrow by just logging onto Google and finding out all the answers and getting the best score. But that's not the point. The whole point is it's fun to try and guess. And I think that's it. I think it would be awesome. Like I know that up the Alp, they've had random points on the road where you get power ups. So there must be a technical way to just add a point in game that does something when you get to it or when you ride past that line.
Totally.
So next big spin, that would be all treasure hunt, as Josh says in chat.
I like it, Josh. Nice call out, Josh. The Zwift treasure hunt. ZTHs. We need some ZTHs in game. Liking it. And, very cool. Well, okay, so we already did our, I jumped the gun on the fashion show this week with the Bigspin London Punk. So let's go ahead. What are you up to for the next week? I mean, you're obviously back on the bike. The injury's not when's the surgery happening?
I'm just on a wait list now. So
okay.
Gotcha. ASAP, but just, when a spot opens up. But yeah, I'm on the bike. Like I said, all I think won't do is sprinting because, like when you're pulling and pushing on the handlebars quite a lot, it's just not what I really feel like doing. But I'll do the TTT tomorrow with my team and then big spin like crazy afterwards.
Are you getting ready for the World Cup next week? The TTT
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Yeah,
we're going to do that. That'll be a bit of fun. And it's Easter here, long weekend. So yeah, I'm riding about 3 hours tomorrow morning and then keep doing these gravel workouts with big spinning warm-ups and warm-downs.
We're getting ready for the TTT, but it's because we are doing coverage, actually. We may cover the same one that you are doing. Maybe not. We'll have to see. We're definitely doing an EMEA for the World Cup and be kind of tracking. So ZCL will have coverage for the WTRL Team Time Trial World Cup next week. We're also getting ready for the Zwift Racing League finals. And then besides that, of course, big spin and playing like way too much Apex. Like that's where I'm trying to go Apex Predator and learning everything I can about that at the moment. So that's what we're mainly up to. And then we are looking a lot actually into gravel right now and getting outside, perhaps more on the gravel side of things and racing some gravel this year. So that's one of the major focuses. And then Toad also, Tour of America's Dairyland here. So we're kind of like looking forward to that. But I mean, that's not coming up in the next week or anything like that, but like kind of planning out our spring and summer as far as in real life racing goes and looking at what gravel bikes. The pick is between the Pinarello and the Specialized top end. That's where we're at right now. So, because that's what Broken Spoke carries. So we're well, at least at the high end and the nicer models. So good picks to be looking at. But I'm leaning toward the Specialized. I don't know why. I look at that Pinarello and I'm like, it looks heavy for some. I shouldn't say that probably, but I'm like, it doesn't. And a couple of my athletes have that one actually, but I'm like, is that a gravel bike? Like really? Like what is that? I don't know. So that's what we're up to. Well, if that's it for us, I think for this week, a little bit shorter. We kept it underneath an hour and a half. I mean, nothing like our Barney conversations that go on for like.
I know, but I think Zwift Games wrapped up the other week. I wouldn't say we're like super news heavy at the moment. I can't say there's been a lot that's just happened and we're like, whoa, let's talk about it. So I think we did all right.
Oh, there is a conversation about Glasgow, crits, reverse. We didn't talk about that. I was going to mention it. If you didn't check that out, lap it up and it just got released. Glasgow is going to be going in reverse in the Lap It Up Z Racing. And I believe that is on week number 2. And we will have coverage of that on Mondays for the Z Racing. So we'll be doing all of the Lap It Up April Z Racing series and new route. Well, not really new roads, but a new route. That'll be an interesting one because the KOM, I just really quickly here, I do want to highlight this because it is it's interesting to me because of how the KOM functions there, because it is a much like the Clyde Kicker reverse is way longer. Look at how long that is.
Yeah.
Way longer. Completely different kind of a KOM starting all the way back over here. I mean, and then a very long sprint section as well. Is that actually a whole champion sprint all the way
And
around?
it's actually, from my memory of going on the downhill, it's going to have you can see it there on the map, a couple of rollers leading into it with less of a steep up. So it'll be roll, gradual up, steep down, flat. So quite a different dynamic there.
Pretty cool. I like it. I think, I do like that course, and it'll be interesting to check it out as far as the race course goes. It'll be really interesting coming out of the pens. Usually that course, you're just like full on downhill, especially if it's like a ZRL race and there's a points at the banner right away. Instead, we go left real quick, and then it'll be like that downhill, and then that steep uphill though, where Kaminsky attacked on the down.
Oh,
that's gonna be really steep.
Yeah.
And long.
And it's well before the KOM.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's those rollers into it. It's more the KOM, the actual KOM bit up to the banner is not as a heavy gradient, but there's a killer climb leading into it.
Totally. Huh. Oh, there is an NPC story that Lori Paulson submitted, it sounds like. If it's
That's
on
on
the
me.
website.
No, so she's sent it to me via Instagram DM. And Laurie, I wasn't on the show last week, and I've completely forgotten about it today. But Gabby is telling her to put it on the website, so then it'll be in there
put it
with
on the
pictures
website,
the
and
next
we
time.
will definitely highlight it. There's a space on the website specifically for it, actually. So head on over here. It is on the podcast. Zwiftcommunitylive.com/podcast is where you can submit that, and it's way easier for us if you do submit them over there. So if you do have an NPC story, we will definitely be highlighting it. Thank you so much, Larry Paulson. We'll get to it next week. And then also, if you do have some fashion you want to submit, we always absolutely love to do that. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. That's going to be it for Anna and I. Again, just a quick reminder, if you do want to download, head on over to zwiftcommunitylive.com/podcast to get the audio version of this. We've been live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and X, and you will be able to download this episode 88 in the next 24 hours or so, and you can go back through all 87 before this, wherever you do download your podcast or over on the website. Thanks everybody for tuning in. As always, from Anna and I, right on.
Change.